It's January 30th, Wednesday, 2019. I'm mentioning the date today because it could be a record day as far as the temperature goes. It's minus 17 degrees outside. The low today in Kenosha is supposed to be around minus 25 degrees. That's not including the wind chill factor, which is supposed to be possibly 55 degrees below zero. Obviously, too cold to want to go outside, so let's get some more painting done on the Whisper. Here's a quick review on my basic gray color that I use to gray down all my colors. It's a universal gray. It's violet with yellow added. Get this color range in here is what I use. It's like a universal color to mix with all the other colors to gray down, to bring down the intensity. And I use cadmium yellow medium with cobalt violet to make that gray color. My black. I make a black with ultramarine blue, maybe an eighth of that amount of alizarin crimson, and some of my universal gray mix to bring down the intensity of that color to make my black, the shade I use to darken most colors. We are going to be working on the wheelchair guy, the guy in the wheelchair. We've been doing some glazing areas of red and reddish violet with some dark tints in areas. And we also have this lighter area of red that comes through. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that. You can see it still looks a little bit washed out. We have a lighter value, but you can kind of see the canvas kind of coming through in a little areas. It looks a little washed out. I think one more layer of our red that has a slight tint of zinc white in it. I think one more layer may just do it. Okay, for our darker values, I'm going to take alizarin crimson, and I'm going to mix that with a little bit of my black. Maybe just a touch of my universal graying color to bring down the intensity a little bit. I think we can add a little more black to it. That'll be my darker value. For my lighter value, I'll take some of this. I'm going to add a little bit of this is a alizarin crimson now with my black. I'm going to add a little bit of cadmium red medium to that. This will be for that lighter area, the lighter red patches. And let's add just a teeny bit of zinc white to that. And we're going to mix this with glazing medium. Right now it's just pure color. Let's see how that looks. Can we see that? Let's see. Okay, it's a little closer. I think it needs a little bit little bit lighter. Yeah, I think that's more like it right there. Okay, we want to mix that with our glazing medium. Now, as this is the third layer, we want to go fat over lean, which means we want to use more of the glaze and a little less of the pigment. So the oil, the medium being the fat over lean. So more glaze than pigment. So it's going to be pretty thin. Okay, I think I'll tape up our reference image so I can see and compare. I think we need some of that lighter red in the area of the jacket. Right in the, just on the edge highlight area, I think. Okay, let's mix our darker red glaze with, this is a Lizerman Crimson with a little of my black added to it. And once again, we're using just a small amount of the pigment with a larger amount of glaze because we're going fat over lean. Now we can start going into some of our darker areas. This is our medium dark color. It's probably time after we lay some of this medium dark color that we can go and add some more black to this color and go even darker in some of these areas. I think we can start adding some of this medium dark red color as well to the jacket. Bigger brush this time. Let's just go into darker areas here. And I'm going to hit it strong, and then I'm going to blend it out. Dry my brush a little bit. I got a rag down here. Dry that brush out a little bit and spread it out. Blend it. Go a little darker in some of these areas now with our glaze. So I took my medium dark glaze, which was a Lunzer crimson, with my black, and I added some more black to it this time, so we can start to go a little darker in some of the more shadowy areas. And we can start to accent some of these stripes. Some of the details underneath in the underpainting can get a tendency now to start getting a little washed out as we go over different layers over them. So even this is the time I think we can start adding some of that detail that is getting washed out back in some of these stripes. Darker stripes. Okay, here I'm going to go ahead and go into some of the darker shadow areas of his jacket, into the creases with this darker color. I'll go on strong at first and then we'll blend it out. Oh, I dripped. I'll just blend that in or wipe it off. This edge is pretty dark, so we can I'll just blend that drip in. Spread my brush out here in this darker area. And I'll blend all that in. Our blanket we're painting had some little subtle touches of orange in it. So I'm going to take our glaze, our lighter glaze that we had, that we used in the lighter red areas. I'm going to take that glaze. I added some cadmium yellow medium to it to make an orange color. Okay, let's just put touches of this orange color to a few of these little squares. on his blanket. There's not a lot of areas I see with the orange, just a few, the squares. And also, put some of that on his tentacles. Letting the underglaze come through a little bit. I mean the underpainting. Let's work on his mask area a little bit. And what we're going to do here basically is, it's not a huge variety of colors here. Mainly just a lot of shadows, shades that we can concentrate on. So I'm going to go ahead and blend for our glazes his basic colors that we're going to work with, which would be like a lighter area with some white, a lighter gray area, and a darker area. Let's go ahead and take my black and just take a little bit of it and put it in the middle area, my white, zinc white. That'll be the middle ground. Mix a little bit of that into the whiter paint, but leaving it lighter. I think I'm going to need a little more paint here. More zinc white. Add some of that white to the very end here. That'll be our highlight color, the whitest area. And over on the far left here, let's take a good amount of that black and mix it in. That'll be our darker areas. So now all we need to do is blend these with some medium to make our range between light white, a middle gray, a dark gray, and then probably a little black. Here's our medium. Let's mix these values. Here we go, 3 shades of gray. Let's just start with our medium light, medium gray area. Won't need a lot of it. And dry my brush here, spread it out, blend it in. Okay. Now let's go to our darker gray. It's not real dark for the shadow areas. We're going to add some black, some of my black to that to go even darker. Okay, mix some of that black, my black color to our white gray mixture to make it even darker. And we'll hit these darker areas. And I'm going to dry my brush, spread that out, blend it in. And we'll be going darker in some of these darker areas on later glazes. Let's hit the highlight areas, which was with my whitest, lightest color I had mixed. And let's go lightly right into the highlight area. And won't take much, so we can build it up more if we want, and we probably will. So I'll the dry brush here, and once again we'll blend it out. I think I'll start working a little bit and start glazing in this back seat of his wheelchair. Now, if I look at my picture, I don't see a lot of variation in value. It's pretty dark mostly, so I think we can basically start glazing with black into this area of the wheelchair, this area here, the back, and it's mostly dark, dark black. I think we can start glazing with. But what color black? Yes, there's a variety. I say, looking at this picture, the black will be more on the red tone as opposed to, say, more on the blue tone. So that would mean black with a little bit more of the Lunzer crimson as opposed to the blue. So that's what we'll do. So let's mix a black. I have some ultramarine blue here. We're going to mix it with alizarin crimson. We're going to make a little more alizarin crimson this time. And we're going to use my gray medium, my gray color. Add that to it too, to darken it. To make it less intense. The more of that gray I add, my gray mixture, the more brownish it will be. You see that? So we got a little more on the red side as opposed to the blue. And I think that's what we want as our glaze for our wheelchair. A black that's a little bit more on the red side. Let's add some medium to it. Nice reddish black. Okay, probably made way too much, and some of it will go to waste. And if the color is a little too red, or if it was a little too blue for that matter, we could probably take care of that in future glazes. So I don't think we need to be exact. This is the first glaze in this wheelchair area. And I don't think we need to be too picky with this first glaze. Okay, let's just go ahead and add our blackish red. It's definitely more in the red, which is okay. And we can pretty much go over it, this first glaze, and just let everything come through a little bit. And it is a little bit on the red side, I think, but we'll take care of that in a future glaze. Maybe add a little bit more blue to it to make it a little less red. But that's okay. This under part of the painting coming through, it's a little red, that'll work well as a reflection, as it is like reflecting. Reflecting his red jacket. Let some of that shine through where we want to. But we're just starting off this basic first glaze of the wheelchair area. Oh, I think I'll need a smaller brush for these details. I'll paint these details between the spokes this color. We have just gone a little bit into the back of his chair, darkening this area with a black color, more on the red side. We'll be darkening that, making it probably a little dark, more in the little bit more blue mixed in with that on future glazes to make our black glazes. But you can see we've added a little more depth into the back seat area of his wheelchair. Thank you for your time. That is demonstration number 3 on glazing techniques in oils. Hope you find it informative. If you do, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you again.